What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another NBA tier list video, and today we're going to be ranking all 30 NBA teams' future. So we're going to take a couple things into consideration. Their young core, do they have enough players on a rookie contract? Do they have guys that they can build around for the future? Their star players right now, are they on the older side? Are they in their prime? And then their draft pick capital. Do they have a ton of draft picks like the Oklahoma City Thunder that they can use to draft players or make a trade down the line? Or do they have a very thin draft pick sheet? So I'm going to have in mind around 2025, 2026, or really how they're going to be set up for the next decade. Do they have that foundation in place, or is it a big question mark? So we have this into 5 tiers. The S tier, the elite future. You have guys to build around. You have draft picks. You have young players on good contracts. And yeah, that's basically an elite future right there, or at least your best players aren't above 35 years old. A really good, it's like it says, it's a really good tier. Maybe you're like lacking in some area, but it's really not that much. It's just you like there's a big, or there's at least a difference between S tier. That's what I'm saying. Like, it'll make more sense when we make the tier list. B, it's solid, but maybe they have good players, but just no draft picks, or maybe they have draft picks, but no good players to build around. So that is the B tier. C, there is kind of one thing that is holding it up. Like, maybe it's just one player that's like elite, and that's why they aren't going to be in the D tier, but they don't have much else besides that player. And then D, bleak AF. Yeah, they maybe have a good team now, but these guys could retire, or they might switch teams in a few years. They don't have draft picks, or maybe they just don't have anything. So yeah, if you guys do enjoy and want to see more tier lists about kind of teams' current stage or future or young cores, drop a thumbs up on this video. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below. And yeah, we can hop right into this. So the first team is the, we'll go from the bottom here. We have the Orlando Magic. I think that they're a tough one. See, they're a team that I'm going to probably place, and then I don't know if I'm going to raise them or not, because I kind of want to put them in elite future right now, just with Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. And I love Franz Wagner, but I don't think that Franz Wagner is ever going to be a top 15 or 20 guy in the league one day. There's a chance that he could be, but it's not a guarantee. Banchero is somebody that can be. Now, Jalen Suggs hasn't really shown that he's been good enough to be, like, he was the top 10 pick. Wendell Carter Jr., good supporting piece, good supporting young player on a great contract. Fultz has his injury concerns. Cole Anthony, good player, but not a top guy, or we don't project him to be a top guy in this league. Isaac, we don't really know what's going on. They do have all their draft picks, and they have that Bulls first round pick as well. There's a chance I might put them in elite future, because they're on their way up. They definitely are, but there's a chance that I want to make that like the holy grail of this tier, and the Magic might be just lacking something else. But they might go up. They're definitely not going down. They're either an A or above. Philly, James Harden on the older side, free agent. Embiid in his prime. Maxey, I think they're a B. I think they have a solid future, and like this might mean that they could be a championship contender. Like, I predicted the Sixers to be in the Eastern Conference Finals preseason. A lot of people were picking them to win it all, so they could be a championship caliber team but still have a bleak future. But I think that they're a B. I think they just kind of lack the draft capital. They lack the young core outside of Tyrese Maxey. I don't love it besides him. Harden's a little bit on the older side. Embiid has shown that he can't stay healthy sometimes when it comes down to it at the end of the season, and he's in his prime right now, so we don't know how he's going to be like maybe 33 or above. But Maxey's really holding them up. If they didn't have Maxey, I maybe would even drop them down a tier, but I think right now B is fine, and the Sixers should be good for at least the next 2 to 3 years. But when we're going looking the next 4 or 5, it's kind of tough to really see what they're going to be building around then. Wizards, man, I don't know if I want to say bleak AF, but they might be in a really bleak future. Like, they're like the Knicks. I don't know. We'll get to the Knicks in a little bit. And I know, like, I'm literally just, my memory sucks because I was saying I was going to go from the bottom to the top. So we'll do the Wizards and then we'll go back to the Lakers. I'm sorry. Wow. That was embarrassing. But yeah, for the Wizards, I'm going to say one thing holding them up. Like, they have Beal. They have Porzingis. They have Denny Avdija. I mean, like, they're going to be, it'd be best for them to try to get a top 10 pick in this draft and try to be in that top 5. I don't love their team and I don't love their future. I don't know if I want to put it in bleak, but I might. They could definitely drop because they might just be good enough where they're going to be picking around like 10 overall for the next 4 to 5 years with Bradley Beal making $50 million a year. We'll see. Lakers, this one is a pretty easy one. They're in the bleak AF. LeBron doesn't have many years left in this league. Russ is probably not going to be a Laker next year. Might not be a Laker past the deadline. AD is good, and the guy you would build around post LeBron, but his isolation scoring's been off this year. His defense has been fine, but he's not looking like Pelicans AD that you'd build around once LeBron's gone. So people are saying, should you just hop on it while you can, move AD while he still has some good value? You don't want to wait a year or two where he's untradeable because maybe of his injury concerns. But the Lakers' future, man, especially if they traded like 2 first-round picks for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, it's bleak now. It could be bleak down the line. I would be a little bit nervous if I was a Lakers fan if you can't win with LeBron and AD in these next 2 years. Next up, we have the Boston Celtics. They have a really good future. There's a chance I might put them in elite because their best player is so young in Jason Tatum. So they can go up as well. Jaylen Brown is one of the best number 2s in the league. But Jaylen Brown, I don't know if he's going to be a Celtic on a second contract. He definitely could be. But we know that he's most likely going to hit free agency because he can make the most amount of money when he becomes a free agent rather than signing an extension with the Celtics right now. And Jaylen Brown, I don't know. He seems like the player that would possibly switch teams. I don't think he absolutely loves Boston. I mean, Boston fans might disagree with me, but I'm just saying that there is something kind of glooming there. But Tatum is holding them up. Like I said, I just want to lay the foundation for this, and then I'll see if anybody deserves to be in that elite tier. Golden State, man, you start the year, I would say like elite future, but I would still say, I don't want to make a quick assumption. They're tough. Because you have Steph, Draymond, and Clay. All are getting older. Steph's probably got a few more good years left. Clay, we're seeing the regression. Draymond might not even be a Warrior next year. We know Wiggins is going to be around. We know Jordan Poole is going to be around. Wiseman hasn't looked great. Kuminga hasn't looked great. Moody. But at least they're going to be... They're young still, like they're going to progress hopefully throughout the season, and they do have most of their first round picks. I know Memphis has one of their first, maybe they have to dish out another one, but it's not like they're completely thin on the draft capital side. Maybe they'll develop Patrick Baldwin, we will see. I think they have a really good future. I think they're going to be set up for the next 4 to 5 seasons, at least a good team, but there's a chance I might drop them down the B, we will see. Nope, I'm not doing that. OKC, I don't know. I want to say it's a really good I mean, like, Shea is looking like he's going to be one of the better point guards in the league very soon, if not already. They have Chet Holmgren, but we have yet to see him play. Giddey, I mean, the jury's still, I like that Giddey, like what we think he's going to be. Can he play next to Shea? Is he going to be efficient enough? But I still really like Josh Giddey. I like Lou Dort. I've been out on Poku for a little bit. Darius Bazley, like, probably not as much hype as he was or once had. Ousmane Dieng, Jalen Williams, they're going to take time to develop, but they have all those draft picks. Like, it's going to be really hard for them to mess it up. I think, like, they're, like, an extreme case. Like, the Jazz have a lot of picks, but the Thunder just have an absurd amount, and that Shea Gilgeous player, that even, yeah, no. I think they have an elite future. Yeah. I don't know. Because would you say in 5 years from now, who's going to be better, the Celtics or the Thunder? You'd probably take the Celtics, right? Okay, I think just like since you have Jason Tatum, you're going to be good at least for the next 5 years. There's a reason the Golden State Warriors aren't up there, just because their core is on the older side and their younger players are, like, if your 2 best players were Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, I don't think that you'd be like an elite team in this league. I think if you have Jason Tatum and you even took off Jaylen Brown from this team, and you had a healthy Robert Williams, they'd probably still be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference because of Jason Tatum, who's most likely going to win an MVP one day. Next up, we have Brooklyn. They have a really bleak maybe it's a C. They don't have draft picks. I don't know, though, because if Ben Simmons is just going to erase all his trade value and not be what he was in Philly, they're probably in the D tier. Just because Kyrie, they're most likely not going to get anything for him. No one's going to trade for him. He's going to leave. Simmons looks like he has erased all trade value. Maybe you move KD and you can salvage some of those draft picks that you lost in trading for James Harden. But, yeah, I think it's a bleak future, especially if Simmons isn't going to be what he was. And even if you keep KD around, like, Kyrie's going to be gone. There's so many question marks with this Nets team. And I think that they will probably be a lower seed in the Eastern Conference this year. I assume Kyrie's going to come back and play for them. But, yeah, like, after this season, I really have no idea what to expect. Chicago, ooh, this is one of the middle of the pack. I don't think they're going to be, like, a team that's an NBA purgatory. I would say it's a solid future because you still have Zach LaVine. I mean, we'll see Patrick Williams. We've been waiting for the breakout year. I don't know if we're ever going to get it. Ayo Dosunmu, Dalen Terry, we'll see what we get from him. But DeRozan and Vucevic are on the older side. Now, they're going to be in some AD trade rumors, but they have basically, like, all their draft picks. They have that Portland pick as well that they got in the Larry Market and 3-team trade a couple off seasons ago. Yeah, I would say it's nothing crazy, but they have the foundation. If Lonzo can stay healthy, I think that's a big part of it as well, but that's a big if because he's been hurt for most of his career. So I don't think it's, like, as bad as, like, the Wizards or the Lakers or the Nets, but it's not as good as, like, the Warriors or the Magic. The Miami Heat, I would say just because of Bam and Hero being like so young and so talented at their ages, and Jimmy Butler still having at least a few good seasons left, that they're in the B tier. They don't have the most amount of draft picks. I mean, after Bam and Hero, they don't really have many other young players. Like, we'll see what Jovic can develop into, but he's still a very raw player. Like, Max Strus is a little bit older for somebody that's came on the scene a little bit later. Lowry's going to be at the end of his career. Duncan Robinson doesn't look great, but you got to have faith in Pat Riley. I think with just Bam and Hero, it's like the same as like the Bulls with Levine and Lonzo and some other players, and like the Bulls have their draft picks. And Philly, they have Maxey, and they'll still have Embiid, like who's still not even 30 years old yet. Yeah, that they're going to all be in the B tier. Next up, we have Houston. I mean, Houston's bad this year. Love Jalen Green. Like Şengün. I think Jabari Smith, he's off to, like, I mean, not the start you'd want him to have, but he's still incredibly young. He's going to have time to mold into his own. But, like, do I think that the Rockets have a better future than the Bulls? It's really, if they land Wembanyama, it's like they go up to here. But with that uncertainty, like, they might end up with Cam Whitmore, which isn't a bad thing, but yeah, it's a lot of depends on where these teams will finish up this year. I'm going to say B, because I really don't know who's going to, like, if Jabari Smith isn't going to be somebody that could be that number 2, which I'm not going to say he is or he won't be. It's way too early to tell. And I don't know what's going to happen in the lottery with them, and they don't have some of their picks in the future from the Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook trade. I'm going to put them in B. They have a solid future, but it's still up in the air. Now, like I said, if they get Wembanyama or Scoot, they probably go up to here. If they don't get lucky in the lottery, they could easily be here. You could make a debate for really good, but for now, they're going to be in the solid tier. I would say maybe the worst future here if we're looking at 2025. It's tough. We'll go back to the Rockets. They might have some debate. Yeah, the Hornets are in C. The only reason they're not in B, I mean, they have most of their first round picks, and they have LaMelo Ball. I would assume that LaMelo is going to take the rookie max extension, and he's like the player that is holding them up. Like the whole Miles Bridges thing wasn't in their control. Their young core outside of him, I mean, James Bouknight doesn't look like a great pick. Was Mark Williams the right decision? PJ Washington, are they going to extend him? Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier, they're getting up there in age. At least Hayward is. So yeah, they're like LaMelo is the thing holding them up. I wouldn't put them in the Lakers or the Nets kind of tier. Pelicans, they have an elite future, 100%. They have Zion Williamson, they got to build around. They have Brandon Ingram. They have good veterans in Valanciunas and McCollum that can help them right now. And then maybe by the time they end up moving on or regressing, they have a ton of draft capital still from the AD and the Drew Holiday trades. They have Dyson Daniels. They have Trey Murphy. They are chilling for the future, 100%. The Knicks, I don't know. I would say they're in like the C tier right now. Now, there's a chance I might move them up because they have, you know what, yeah, they have the draft pick capital. They do. They have 4 protected first round picks, not from them. I believe it's like the Wizards, the Nuggets, maybe the Pistons one, and the Mavericks. I could be wrong, but they have all their first round picks, and they have those picks. They have Toppin, they have Barrett, they have Reddish. Quickly's all right, Grimes. Some of those guys have been a little bit inconsistent to start the season, but they have at least some young core. Mitchell Robinson. They have Julius Randle, who's not 30 yet. They have Jalen Brunson, who looks good. That will most likely have value throughout his contract. So the Knicks are in position to maybe elevate them, but they're right now in NBA purgatory. I'm sure you've seen the stats of how average they are, but this is looking in the future. I don't think they have as good of a future as the teams above them, but I think they do have a better future than these 4 teams so far. Next up, the Sacramento Kings. I would say it's a solid future. All of your draft picks, besides the one you gave up for Kevin Huerter, you have Fox, who's looked great to start the year. You have Sabonis. You have Keegan Murray, which looks like it was the right decision if you weren't going to take, like, Benedict Mathurin. Yeah, I would say I don't know. But then, is it that much better than the Hornets or the Wizards? Okay, the Kings are a tough one. I think I want to put it's a solid future, because I'd rather have Sabonis and Fox than LaMelo and I don't even know. LaMelo and Rozier, LaMelo and PJ Washington, and Beal and Porzingis, but they're like, I think, purgatory bound eventually, which and like Kuzma, I guess, for them. I didn't really mention them before. But yeah, this is the future, not right now. Like the Lakers, well, I wouldn't say that they're better than these teams, but the Nets, I would probably take the Nets, yeah, over the Hornets, the Wizards, the Knicks, the Kings, the Rockets this year. Portland, I'd say it's B. No, they don't own all their draft picks. Shout out to the Larry Nance trade. But Dame still has, I would say, like 4 or so good years left. Anthony Simons looks great. We'll see if they extend Jeremy Grant. Don't love where Nurkic is at. They got Little back on a value deal. They have Shaedon Sharp. I would say that they're at a B. But there's a chance I actually might drop them down to C. I mean, they've been playing good so far this year. I'll keep them at the B tier for now. Suns, they're probably no. I think they're gonna be because Chris Paul retires, and then how does that team look when he eventually does? Like, will Aiden be here for a while? Will they make a trade for KD? They have Bridges, who I love, but I think having Devin Booker immediately puts them at A. It's just like, I mean, by the time Chris Paul retires, Devin Booker's gonna be in his prime, at his best. It's not like they have any, like, Cam Johnson just got hurt, but he's not like incredibly young by any means. They let Jalen Smith walk. I'm going to say the Suns, they're a really tough one, man. They are. I mean, I think just having Devin Booker alone and Aiden and Bridges, as long as they keep that trio, they'll be good. The Clippers, they're a B. There's a chance they might even have a C future, because they still don't have a lot of their picks from the Paul George trade. But when they eventually do, like, George, Leonard, Wall, they're getting older. In 4 years from now, do I think that they're going to be good still? Probably not. I would say it's like their veteran talent is holding them up right now, but I'm not really banking on, like, the Terrence Mann future, the Zubats future, you know. I think that they're in a C tier. They're eventually going to have to think about what's this team going to look like in 4 years from now. Now, Paul George, I think, still has a couple good years left, but we know he's had his injury past. Kawhi's had his injury past. Yeah, their veteran talent is holding them up, but I don't love their future by any means. Their window is right now. Utah, I'd say it's a really good future. Now, if you asked me last year with Mitchell and Gobert, it would probably be this. If you asked me at the start of the year with all the draft picks, it'd probably be this. But they're playing very well right now. Markkanen looks great. Sexton is easing his way back in. They still have yet to move Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Malik Beasley. They might not even move Clarkson or Beasley. They could still move Conley for anything when that time comes. They have other young talent like Ochai Agbaji, Jared Vanderbilt, Walker Kessler. And yeah, all those Minnesota and Cavs first-round picks and swaps. They got that first-round pick that I think's the Sixers this year, and the Royce O'Neal deal. Love their draft pick capital. Don't hate their roster right now. Yeah, they have a good future over there in Utah. San Antonio, I think it's probably similar to the Rockets. Like, having all their draft capital, the Primo draft pick, obviously now in hindsight, like, terrible. I hated it at the time, and now I obviously hate it even more. But I like Vassell. I like Keldon Johnson. Jakob Poeltl's good. We'll see how much he's going to be in the future. I love their draft with Shohan, Wesley, and Branham. I'm hopefully giving them time this year. I don't want to make any assumptions yet. They're going to be bad most likely at the end of the year. I mean, they take Wembanyama, they might shoot up to here. Like, whoever gets Wembanyama, like, if it's the Rockets or the Spurs or the Hornets or the Wizards, like, they're going to jump up 2 tiers if you get one of those players. Minnesota, I mean, you have Cat and Ant. These aren't rankings within the tiers. I'm just debating, do I want to put them here? But they have no draft capital now. They're getting off to a weird start. We've seen some bad Anthony Edwards kind of emotions on the court. I don't know if they're going to extend D'Lo, but they have Cat and Ant under contract for a while. Or they will have Ant under contract for a while. I'm going to say B rather than being an A, because I don't know. There's some weird things going on in Minnesota. I'm a little hesitant there. Memphis with John Morant, Triple J, Desmond Bane. They got draft picks. They have other young players like LaRavia, Roddy, Aldama, Zaire Williams. One of those guys is bound to be really good eventually. Yeah, I think they have an elite future. You have John Morant. That's why I'm saying Devin Booker, John Morant, Jason Tatum. That's what's putting you up here. Zion Williamson as well. Denver Nuggets. They have a really good future. I think that's kind of the perfect tier for them, because I don't think that they're going to be great for the next, or no, like, I don't know. Is Michael Porter Jr. ever going to be consistently enough healthy where he could be that number 2 on a championship team? Same with Jamal Murray. Is he good enough to be that number 2 on a championship team? How is Bones Highland going to develop? Is Zeke Naji going to be there in 3 or so years? But you have Nikola Jokic. He immediately is going to put them in the really good tier, just because also Murray and Porter Jr. aren't on the older side yet. And I like that KCP trade for them, but that matters this year, not in the future. Dallas, you have Luka. I mean, they've done a terrible job building around Luka, in my opinion. I didn't even think the roster around him was great last year, and I think that, or like, Brunson helped in the development of him. Shout out to their 2018 draft class. But yeah, I think they've just done a terrible job of building around Luka. At least, like, paying a lot of money to guys that it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Now they're surrounding him with shooters, but I like Finney-Smith. I don't think they have another good young player next to Luka on this team. We'll see what happens with Josh Green, but I don't think he's going to be here in a couple years. Like Jaden Hardy, we'll see how he develops. They traded for Christian Wood. It's really because you have Luka. That's really it, but I don't have a lot of faith in that Mavericks front office, at least at the moment. I think the Raptors have a really good future. Siakam, in 5 years will still, I think, be a solid player. Not what he is right now. Same with Van Vliet, but I mean, I think having Scotty Barnes or draft picks, it's good enough for the future. I think like I like Banchero more long-term than Scotty Barnes, but I think just like that team is also a well-ran organization. I feel very confident in their future. Bucks, you have Giannis in what, 5 years? He'll be 32, 33. He still will be one of the better players in the league. There's a part of me that wants to put him here because their draft pick situation, Middleton and Holiday are a lot older, and their bench is rough. But I think just having Giannis, I have to put them there. Indiana, really good future. I think they're a smart, like a well-ran organization. Halliburton and Mathurin look great. I love Isaiah Jackson. We'll see if they can acquire assets for Hield or Miles Turner. We'll see what they do with Chris Duarte, but he'll be a little bit older when this time comes. Man, imagine they add Wembanyama. That would be crazy. But yeah, I really like their foundation and the way that front office is run. Detroit, I think, has a good future as well because I love Cade, and I think he's somebody you build around like a Paolo Banchero. And yeah, they're a team that you add a Victor Wembanyama to. They go up to that elite future. It's really like the Thunder should probably be here, but they just have so many draft picks and that good player like the Shea, like the Banchero, like the Cunningham that I think they're put there. Cavs, they have an elite future 100%. You have an elite backcourt. You have an elite young frontcourt, elite young backcourt as well. They're going to be good for at least the next 6 or 7 years, as long as they keep that core together. But it's the NBA. People leave all the time. And I think Atlanta has a really good future. We'll see if they pay Murray. We'll see if they... But I don't know. I think Atlanta's got a really good future as well because Trey's still so young. He's going to be there for a while. I think they'll re-sign DeJounte Murray. And then they have the assets to make a trade. Now, they did give up a lot of picks for Murray, but they can move Collins. They can move Capella. AJ Griffin looked great. They have Onyeka Okongwu, who's eventually going to develop for that team. They still have Bogdan Bogdanovic. They got that first-round pick for Herter. I like the Hawks' future. So yeah, this is what I'm going to go with. I hope you guys did enjoy. Drop a like if you did. I think some of the harder teams to rank were Houston, maybe a little bit of Philly, Portland, Sacramento. I think those were tough. Let me know if you disagree with any of these bottom tier teams. Let me know if you think I should put a team up, put a team down. Let me know down below. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.